Hello viewers, Wagadaruna taking you through the story for A-Level Applied Mathematics. And in this video, we are going to go through the expected response for Senior 5 Math 2 End of Term 1 for the year 2025. So this video is suitable for students in Senior 5 only simply because they are in a different curriculum from those of Senior 6, especially those offering principal mathematics as part of their combination. So these are the videos we hope to upload, and I also encourage students in Senior 5 mainly, if you have already done your end of term exams and they are scenario based, I encourage you to send them to my WhatsApp so that you can also include them on this list, which we hope to upload during this holiday. So this is the contact where you can take pictures, or you scan them using a cam scanner and you send them to my WhatsApp number, which is this. There are also books which I recommend. So previously we had books of old curriculum, but now we have both old and new curriculum. The difference, the book covers are the same. The only difference between old and new is that the new curriculum books must have this black circle, having the word based on revised A-level syllabus. For all, is Math 1, Math 2, Physics Paper 1, and Physics Paper 2. All must have a black circle, and for genuinity, I encourage you to check for a punched stamp here. There will always be a punched stamp towards this corner. So when you're buying them, check for those stamps, especially those who buy them from bookshops. Or you can call this contact and we see how you can get the books. For subsidiary math is only one book. For O-level, we have the one for Senior 3 and Senior 4 Physics, and the item bank for both math and physics, containing topical questions aligned in their elements of construct. So item 1 says, at a certain school, 80 S.5 students sat for their end of term 3 mathematics examination. However, their performance in the previous end of term 2 math examinations was not satisfactory. The head teacher warned that if their results did not show improvement in comparison to term 2, he would call for a parents-teachers meeting to discuss the way forward before being promoted to Senior 6. Additionally, the head teacher promised to reward students whose pass mark was 75 and above. The performance statistics for end of term 2 were as follows. The average score was 60.5 and the majority score was 62.5. Majority is another word to mean mod. Below are the students' scores for end of term 3 as listed here. So these should all be 80. Task Part A: analyze the end of term 3 results using equal class widths, starting with a class of 50 to 54 based on your 50 to 54. Then based on your analysis, provide a recommendation to the head teacher on whether a parents-teachers meeting is necessary. Then Part B: based on graphical analysis, how many students qualify for the head teacher's reward? So shall I begin with Part A? Part A, they want you to also analyze this data and get this summary. Get the average score, that is the mean, and also get the majority score, which is the mod. So one, we shall need to tally. So questions of group data, actually in A-level you no longer do ungroup data, right away you start from group data. So questions of group data are better done if you first tabulate. But like I told you, this is a scenario, these are scenario questions, and I think you know that tables, graphs, you must first write a title. So shall write the title, the frequency distribution table showing the student score for end of term 3. So shall come and tabulate our information, the scores. We group them in with class widths of 5 starting from 50, so 54 and up to 75 to 79. So because when you look through this data, there is nothing like 80. There is nothing like 80. That's why we stopped on 70 to 75 to 79. Next, we shall need tallies. Tallies, you have to keep counting, but count carefully because these are 80 students. So let's begin. From 50 to 55, what is highlighted yellow are those students who got the marks in that range. So let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So you come and write 12 in that tally. Let's do that. Tallies of 12. Then next from 55 to 59, shall again count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So you come and write 14, make tallies of 14. Okay. Next, so here, this is where I need to be as careful as possible because miscounting these tallies makes the whole question to be not okay. So from 60 to 64, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So you come and write make tallies of 19. Okay. Then you shall go the next 65 to 69. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So you shall come and make tallies of 16 here. So this is a step where I need to be as careful as possible. Then 70 to 74. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we shall come and make tallies of 12. Then we shall go to the next. So 75 to 79. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we shall come and make tallies of 7. Okay, now we can complete our table. Now that we have the scores and the tallies, we can get the frequency. This is 12, 14, 19, 16, 12, 7. Then we need to add all these ones. to get 80, it must be 80 because that's what was in the question. Then x is the mid-mark, so this plus this over 2, 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 this plus this over 2. Okay, after getting, now that we have column of f and x, we can get f times x. So f times this times this, 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 this times that. Next is to add. We are getting this column because they ask, we want to get the average score. Okay. The next is CF. CF is for part B. Part B, they wanted graphical analysis. So we need to draw an ogive. That's why we put in there CF. So CF, this, put this here, then plus 12 plus 14, you get 26 plus 19, you get 45 plus 16, you get 61 plus 12, you get 73 plus 7, you get, okay. Then next is class boundaries, because for ogive you need to get class boundaries, and also for mod you need class boundaries. So class boundaries, you look at this, subtract and divide by 2. So 55 minus 54 is 1, 1 over 2 is 0.5, meaning that to get upper class boundary you keep adding 0.5 to these values, and to get lower class boundaries you keep subtracting 0.5 from these values. So the first class, we shall get this, second, we shall get that, third, we shall get that, fourth, fifth, and lastly this. So that is the table. It will help us more to answer the questions. I think you realize that I've only included columns which are necessary. Some students want to just include all columns, so they keep on including even fx squared. Fx squared is only put when they ask for variance or standard deviation. So whatever column you need to put, first read through all the parts and see if that column is necessary. Okay, then now we can answer the questions. One, we need to get the average score. So these formulas are there in the logbook, average score, and also the mod. You need to first get the difference between the model frequency and the pre-model frequency. Let's go back to the table and see how to get it. First of all, model class is the class with the highest frequency. In this case, it is this. You see this frequency is the highest, so difference between this and this is called D1. Then this one is between this and post-model frequency is D2. So that's where the D1 and D2 were got from. Or you can say delta 1 and delta 2. Then from there you can now code the formula and substitute. Lower class boundary of the model class, D1 is here and also here, D2 is here. Then class width, they already give it to us in the question, class width of 5. So in the end you come up with 62.625 as the mod or the majority score. So our response is that the average score is this and the majority score is this. So recommendation is that based on the comparison between second term and third term, there is an improvement, and therefore the head teacher should not call for a parents-teachers meeting. There's an improvement because here we have average score of 63.4375, majority score of 62.625. Now let's compare with the one of term 2. For term 2, it was 60.58, the other one was 63 point something. Then this one was 62.5. What about the other one was 62.6? Do you see that? 62.6, meaning that there's an improvement. So there is no need to call for a parents teachers meeting. Okay, then now we can go to part B of the task. Part B says, based on graphical analysis, how many students qualify for the head teacher's reward? So that means we need to draw an ogive and get students above 75%. So here we shall need a graph paper, then draw the axis, horizontal axis and vertical axis. Then shall use intervals of 2 centimeters and get a good scale, starting from the lower class boundary. Do the same for the vertical axis, intervals of 2 centimeters, and get a good scale so that all the values can fit the whole of 80. When you reach 80, you can stop. So the scale, the axis should be labeled number of students, scores. Then from there, we shall need a title, an ogive showing the students' performance in end of term 3 mathematics examinations. Then from there, next is to plot. Remember, ogive, we plot upper class boundary, we plot cumulative frequency against upper class boundary. So we need these values and these values. So 54.5 corresponds with 12. So 54.5 is here. It should correspond with 12. 59.5 corresponds with 23. 26, so 59.5 will correspond to 26. 60.5 corresponds to 45. So 60.5 corresponds to 45. 69.5 corresponds to 63. So 69.5 corresponds to 63. 74.5 corresponds to 73. 74.5 corresponds to 73. And lastly, 79.5 corresponds to 80. So 79.5 corresponds to 80. Then we need to draw a reasonably smooth curve through all these points. Reasonably smooth curve. So let's do that. Okay, so remember we began plotting from upper class boundary, but you shouldn't leave the ogive hanging. So you take it backward until it meets the lower class boundary or the first class, always. Okay, so we are going to estimate, so we shall look for 75 here on the score. 75 is here. Take a vertical line up to touch the curve, then take a horizontal line to touch the vertical axis and read off that value. So 74 students got below 75, meaning that the excess are the ones who got above 75. Therefore, number of learners to be rewarded will be 80, which is the total, minus F75, which is the number of students below 75%, which gives you 6 students. So that's how you could get a total score of 20 in this item. Then item 2 was also on statistics, but this time in item 1 it was about you tallying. Here they have given you the table, frequency table. So it says A to Z Photographers Limited specializes in printing and framing high quality photographs. The company produced 50 photo frames with a range of heights in inches. From the productions manager records, the number of photo frames produced in a certain month were as follows. So these are the ones. Task Part A. Help the production manager to Represent the above data on a suitable graph and estimate the popular height, that is now mod, of the photo frames correct to the nearest inch. Part B, based on calculations, help the production manager to determine the standard deviation of the heights of the photo frames produced in the month. So whenever they give you a frequency table, the first thing to do is to look at the class widths. Are they equal or unequal? So in this case, this class width of 10, 10, 5, 5, 10, 10. That means that they are unequal class widths. So that's the first thing to do. Then 2, do you see this? Total is 50. And also here the last value is 50. Do you know what that means? Actually, that's where the whole trick was. The total frames are 50, and here the last value here is 50. That means these values, entries given here, are the cumulative frequencies. Cumulative frequencies. Cumulative frequencies. Okay, so after knowing that, we can now go and see the expected response. One, you need to write the title of your frequency distribution table showing the heights of photo frames in inches. Let x be the mid value of the heights. So height, we shall give them as they given in the question. Then also the corresponding cumulative frequencies. Then now we can get the frequency. Frequency, first write this. Then from there we shall say this minus this gives you 16. This minus this gives you 12. This minus this gives you 10. This minus this gives you 6. And this minus this gives you 2. Then we need to get the total of all this, which is 50. Next is C, which is class width. Because for a histogram which we are going to draw, we shall need to get frequency density. So this minus this is 10. This minus this is 10. This minus this is 5. This minus this is 5. This minus this is 10. This minus this is 10. So now that we have frequency and class width, we shall get frequency density, which is frequency over class width. So 4 over 10 is 0.4. 16 over 10 is 1.6. 12 over 5 is 2.4. 10 over 5 is 2. 6 over 10 is 0.6. And 2 over 10 is 0.2. Then x, which is the mid-mark, so this plus this over 2, 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 this plus this over 2. Now that we have f and fx, we can get and x, we can get fx. So 4 times 15, 16 times 25, 12 times 32.5, 10 times 37.5, 6 times 45, 2 times 55. Then should add all this to get the total, which is 1605. Then shall need fx squared because they ask for standard deviation. So 4 times 15 squared, 16 times 25 squared, 12 times 32.5 squared, 10 times 37.5 squared, 6 times 45 squared, 2 times 55 squared. Then the total will be that. Okay, so now we can answer the questions. The first question, part A, was help the production manager to represent the above data on a suitable graph and estimate the popular height of the photo frames correct to the nearest inch. That is now a histogram. So you shall need a graph paper, then draw the axes, horizontal axis and vertical axis. Get a scale for the horizontal axis using intervals of 2 centimeters. Start from the lower class boundary, label the axis, do the same for the vertical, intervals of 2 centimeters, then get a scale and label it. Then we can get a title, a histogram showing the heights of photo frames. After that, we can now start plotting. So we plot frequency density and class boundaries. So from 10 to 20 corresponds to 0.4, which is that. 20 to 30 corresponds to 1.6. 30 to 35 corresponds to 2.4. 35 to 40 corresponds to 0.5. And non-zero actually is 2, corresponds to 2. Then 40 to 50 corresponds to 0.6. 50 to 60 corresponds to 0.2. So after drawing the bars, we shall now estimate the popular height. So join this point to this point, and also join this point to this point. Then the intersection, you drop perpendicular to draw a vertical line to meet the horizontal axis. Then you read off that value, and that will be the mode. But they said nearest inch, so it gives 34 inches. Therefore, the response that the popular height of the photo frame is 34 inches. Okay, the scores for part A, then part B. Part B says, based on calculations, help the productions manager to determine the standard deviation of the heights of the photo frames produced in the math. Standard deviation is we need this total, and this total frequency. Now these formulas are available in your logbooks, so I encourage you to have logbooks and always go with them in an examination. So one, we need to code the correct formula for standard deviation. Correct formula for standard deviation. Then we shall substitute summation fx squared, summation f, summation fx, summation f, but the whole of this is squared. Then use a calculator to get the standard deviation they want. So that's how we could get a total score of 20 in item 2. Then item 3 is on mechanics, mainly resolving. It says, in an experiment to demonstrate the effect of forces on a body, a teacher applied the following forces on a solid metallic block. 15 Newton and 13 Newton forces acting vertically upwards. Know that word, vertically upwards. 11 Newton force acting vertically downwards. 3 Newton and 5 Newton forces acting horizontally to the left. and 14 Newton acting horizontally to the right. The teacher tasked the students to determine a single force resulting from the effect of these 6 forces acting on the block. In his further demonstration, he played a video that involved a monster truck at the center of 5 small cars, each car connected to it using a strong cable. The cars pulled apart with forces 30 Newton, 60 Newton, 100 Newton, 70 Newton, and 20 Newton in the directions. So 270 degrees, 40 degrees. So when you see this 0, it means that these are bearings. 120 degrees, 330 degrees, and 225 degrees, respectively. The teacher also tasked the students to use the system of forces above to determine a single force with which the monster truck will resultantly move and the direction it will take. So task as a student of mechanics, help the students to accomplish the task in each case above. So the first one, they said there are 2 forces which are acting vertically upwards, and that is 5 Newton and 13 Newton. Then there was one which was acting vertically downwards, and that was 11 Newton. And one was acting, 2 were acting horizontally to the left, and that is 3 Newton and 5 Newton. And the 6th one was acting horizontally to the right, and that was 14 Newton. So to get the resultant, we need to resolve. So horizontal component, we need this minus this to give you 6 Newton. Vertical component, this sum minus this to give you the vertical component. They are all positive, meaning you can get the resultant. So resultant is got by Pythagoras theory. 6 squared plus 7 squared gives you this. So since force is a vector quantity, we also need to get the direction, which will be arctan 7/6 to give you 49.5. And then we conclude that the single force resulting from the effect of the 6 forces acting on the block is this, in the direction this, above the positive horizontal. So that was task A. Task B, they said we are also going to get the resultant of these forces acting on this monster. So here we need to get the corresponding 30 newtons is in the direction 270, that is bearing. Then 60 Newton bearing is 040, 100 Newton bearing is 120, 70 Newton bearing is 330 degrees, and 20 Newton bearing is 225. So you come and first draw the forces. So 30 Newton bearing is 270, so 270 is here. Then 60 Newton bearing is 40, so 40 is here. But you need an angle to the horizontal. 100 Newton bearing is 120, so 120 is there. But remember, the whole of this is, we need angles to the horizontal, so if the whole of this is 120 and this is 90, so 90 minus 20, excess is 30. That's why you're seeing us put here the 30. Then 70 Newton bearing is 330. So if this is 330, then it means that, and from here T is 270. Then 330 minus 270 gives you 60. Then 20 Newton bearing is 225. So from here T is 225, and the whole of this is 270. So 225 minus 270 270 minus 225 gives you 45, which is here. Then now we can resolve for the 6. We resolve force by force. 60, it will be, remember, if angles are at the horizontal, then the horizontal component will always have cos, and vertical component will always have sine, like that. So 60 Newton is this side and also this side, all are positive. So it will be 60 cos 50 and 60 sine 50. 70 Newton is this side and this side. So this is negative and this is positive. That's why you see a negative 70 cos 60 and positive 70 sine 60. Then the 30 Newton is entirely horizontal. Entirely horizontal, meaning the vertical component is 0, horizontal component, the whole of it is horizontal. Negative because pointing to the left. 20 Newton, this side and this side. So this is negative and also negative. That's why it's negative here and negative there. Then the 100, it is this side and this side. So this is positive and this is negative. That's why you see positive here, negative there. Then use the calculator to add everything to 4 decimal places, which gives you that. So we need to get the magnitude and direction. But remember, the direction was in terms of bearing. So horizontal component is positive. Then positive vertical is also upward. A line joining from start to end is our resultant. And the bearing is theta. But by geometry, this theta is the same as this alternating angles. So we can now get tan theta from opposite over adjacent. So magnitude is that, and also tan theta is opposite over adjacent. Therefore, the bearing will be 047.32 degrees. And that's what they wanted. So that's how we could get a score of 20 in item